Welcome to Season 3 of the Take the Leap podcast. We want to thank you for being a part of this journey with us.
Whether you're just starting to tune in or you're a longtime listener of the podcast, you can expect to hear from entrepreneurs in all stages of their journey, how they got to where they are, and all the mistakes and victories they've had along the way.
We're excited to share new guests and have some returning folks from our first 2 seasons. Thank you for being here, and we hope you enjoy this episode.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Take the Leap podcast. We are so excited to have returning guest, Mary Williams. And if you're watching us right now, you will see that we are at her new studio recording, and we're so excited to be here. So Mary Williams is the founder of Sasquatch Media Grounds, and Mary helps podcasters go beyond just hitting record. If you've already got your mic and gear dialed in, great. That's step 1. Mary comes in for the rest of the journey, helping you craft a show that actually grows your brand, builds momentum, and makes your voice impossible to ignore. This is a full spectrum support: strategy, structure, storytelling, and visibility. Mary focuses especially on building sustainable, repeatable systems for neurodivergent creators. So you're not stuck in a feast or famine production cycles or burning out on a dopamine valley. She makes sure that what you're saying is worth being heard and how you show up is aligned with the business you're building. Her job is to help you create a podcast that hits harder, sticks longer, and builds real connection with your audience. And if you recognize Mary's name before, you probably remember her not only as a previous podcast guest, but also as the owner of Sensible Woo. Welcome to the podcast, Mary, or we should say thank you for letting us record.
Thank you for hosting us. Thank you for coming to the studio. So we're recording in my new studio space here in downtown Vancouver. And there might be some background noise for all of our viewers and watchers because you guys are actually some of the first to come in here, not yet fully open to the public. There's a little bit of construction going on out front. So we're in a very old historic building called the Academy Building. And it was built in 1879 by pioneering nuns. Love it. And they're doing a lot of historical renovation out front with landscaping and the front entryway. And so there's some trucks outside today, and we waited for the loudest ones to go by. But just so everybody knows, we can call it immersive audio. Yes.
You feel like you're really here in the room with us. Also, because it's an old building, there's definitely some ghostly activity here.
Yeah.
And so if you hear some of that in the background too, we have no control over it.
Just gave a wide open invitation.
Be like, spirits, tell us you're here.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. So I came into the building joking, as I am wont to do. And I was like, oh, the building's gonna be totally haunted. It's totally haunted. And then the first thing that happened was my Comcast business guy came to install internet or to get it going in the suite. And he was like a real bro dude, like tech bro dude, nice guy, but a bro. And he was like, oh no, it's totally haunted. And he said that there are offices in the basement. So I'm on the 3rd floor, top floor, and there are offices in the basement. And he has, serviced their business internet lines as well. And he said, no, they're totally haunted. And this building is owned by the Historic Trust, which is a nonprofit in Vancouver, and further down this way towards Fort Vancouver. Oh, I feel like that was environmental.
Yep.
Just wait for that to finish. Is it wrong that because we read so much smutty fiction, I'm like, who's driving a fire truck? You might want to leave that in. I don't know. Yeah. So the world is very noisy when you start recording, right? And anyway, so he told me the houses down Officers Row, they're converted into offices. There's consulting firms and all kinds of stuff down there, law firms. And he was like, some of those houses are really haunted. And it was like, if you are saying these are haunted, they're haunted.
Yeah.
Because you're some bro dude. I would not expect you to talk about paranormal activity and ghosts. And he was like his face got really serious and like kind of lost its color. And I was like, what happened in the basement?
Did you ask him that?
No.
I want to know.
I was kind of freaked out by his reaction a little bit. Like it kind of surprised me. And yeah. And so, so the first thing that happened in here was I went down the hall to use the ladies' room, and I was coming out of the loo, and the door has a very definitive squeak. It's just like, "Wah," and I'm really used to the "Wah" squeak. And the door closed behind me, and so the "Wah" was present, but so was a little kid going, "Hello." Oh. And as humans, we are trained when somebody talks to you, you will acknowledge them. So my instinct was to turn around and acknowledge somebody who had acknowledged me, and then there was nothing there. And then I was like, just kind of walk really calmly. And then I've had a couple of other interesting experiences where I've been assembling a ton of furniture. We were talking about our love of IKEA assembly here. And there's an IKEA utility cart behind the camera over here. And they used to send you extra screws and nuts, and they don't anymore because hashtag the economy, right? Yeah. And inflation and tariffs. And so it comes with exactly what you have in there now. And so I was missing one nut to go with the screw, and I was like, oh, crap. And I'm really anal about everything being lined up. I count it up. Yeah. And I have dark carpet, and it's a bright silver screw, like it would pop out. So I thought, it's hot. We've had a heat wave. I'm done for the day. I'm going to go home. I have a bag of leftover IKEA hardware things from over the years. I keep them. Yeah. And I was like, I'm certain I have something in there that will fit this. And so I was like, I'm going to go home. And I clean everything up. I put all the trash into the trash bin. And I think I even vacuumed that day. And then the next day I came back, and the nut's just sitting in the middle of the carpet. But the freakiest one that's been freaking out a few people who know about this is on another day. I was finishing up, just doing more things in the studio, and then I had an open house the next day. I had a very quiet, private open house, and we're having a bigger open house this afternoon after we're done recording. And so I drove down the street, and I went to Fred Meyer, and I love that there's an emergency happening.
It's like, don't talk about us, Mary.
I know. They're like, you're telling us all the story. So I went down the street to Fred Meyer after work on my way home to get some coffee creamer for the fridge and small things and like some cookies and stuff. And when I went out to my car, I took some trash out to the dumpster. I put my purse in the passenger seat. To drive down the road, I get to Fred Meyer, and then the little safety thing goes off. Like, don't forget your child in the back seat. It's like, ding, check your back seat. And I was like, did I put something in the back seat? And then I looked, and I was like, there's nothing back there. And I was like, oh, motherfucker. I was like, first of all, nobody gave you a permission slip.
Yep.
If I lose you in Fred Meyer, little child ghost, what am I going to do? So the history of this building is that in 1879, Mother Joseph and the Sisters of Providence opened this building and moved in with 100 orphans.
Gosh, 100. Mm-hmm. That's a lot of
orphans.
You think, like, that's a lot of kids.
That's a lot of kids who did not have parents or guardians in that time period. And you're like, wow, that's a lot.
Yeah.
It's a lot. So all of the energy has been very childlike and friendly and happy.
No conjuring. No.
But I did freak myself out a few nights ago, and I was telling Tori when she first got here, before you got here, Ashlyn, that a few nights ago I had forgotten something in here. Like I needed to turn off a lamp. I have a halogen lamp in there, and they're fire hazards if you don't turn them off. And for some reason I had completely forgotten about it. And I think there was a safety switch or something in it, so it had already kind of like turned itself off. But it was like 10 o'clock at night, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot the halogen lamp. And I have little security cameras, but I hadn't hooked them up. And so I was like, dang it, if I had already done that, I could just go on the app and like look to see what was going on. And it couldn't. So I said, you know what, I'm 15 minutes away. I'm just going to get in the car. Screw it. I'm going to come down here. And the whole way down for 15 minutes, I'm like psyching myself out. Like there's going to be ghosts and poltergeists because it's late at night.
Right.
And I came in, and it was so incredibly peaceful in here. And the only thing I could think was, Well, yeah, the kid ghosts are probably all in bed.
Yep. They went to bed
Past
already.
their bedtime.
It's past their bedtime, so the building is very peaceful and quiet.
And the nuns are sleeping too because they were probably so tired.
Probably exhausted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So funny.
And so
As
I
a mom, I'm like, yeah, I'm in bed by 7 a lot.
right? So I think there's something really funny about it. I've had some people who are really into ghosts and paranormal things too, and I was like, this might just become one of those fun marketing angles for the studio. But there is something happening in the building, and I do want to see if I can catch something on a microphone at some point.
So fun.
Because I think it'd be super fun, and then I can maybe try to get some ghost hunter people to come and.
You know what would be really weird and creepy is if we brought like a child, like my son or like a kid here, because like I swear they pick up.
They do.
And they would probably play.
Oh, I wonder if we could get him to like do a little kitty bit, and maybe they would join him on a recording. Because if you change the frequencies, you can hear. If you're into such things, I know not everybody's into. I'm really into it. I name my studio Sasquatch Media Grounds. So I mean, it tells you everything, right? So I think that it should be fun. I think there's a fun angle to it, and there's just a lot of character.
Yeah.
And all the things up here.
I love it.
I mean, again,
It's very on brand, I feel like, for you.
that elevator looks straight out of
I can't wait to go.
a horror, like out of the horror video games that I play.
It's totally. The elevator was built in 1920, and they have plans in here. It's expensive to do it to retrofit,
Right.
but there's plans to build an ADA compliant elevator,
I was
modern
gonna say, 'cause
elevator.
it's tiny.
Because
Yeah.
it's very European, and it's like Titanic. You know, it's got the grate that pulls, and they've put like this chef door in front of it for modern safety things. So it's kind of cumbersome to get in and out of. And but that elevator is a trip. But hey, it works.
Yeah,
Hey, at least it has an elevator.
it's true.
Tell me about it, because I have lugged a lot of things.
Yeah,
in
I was
and
to say
out
you're
of
on the
here.
3rd floor and you've got like a couch and lots of furniture.
Yeah, my movers moved the big things, and it has taken a village. And but they used the elevator too with the dolly with boxes, and they did it.
That's awesome.
That's really cool. How does it feel?
It feels really good. There's moments where I'm like have like not abject terror, but like, oh my God, it's happening.
Yeah,
And there's a lot that needs to be done still, but I really enjoy having a brick and mortar. It's something that I have been wanting to do since 2023, when I decided to experiment and have a podcast where people only sat across the table from each other for at least one season. I wanted to see what would happen. And unbeknownst to me, because I had to book studios in other cities and countries, I ended up seeing and experiencing a lot of other boutique studio spaces, and I couldn't find one up here. And for a while I thought, oh, maybe it's me. Maybe I'm not reading the market right. You always have that little bit of a doubt. And then the vision was really big. And so I had to really get some reality check on that, which Ashlyn and I were talking about was about a year ago. Yep. We were working with Megan Ekman and Jeffrey Opp in their design thinking program that they have. And that really helped me sort of get out of my own way. And then a grant came up to have a suite in this building. Spoiler, I did not win the grant, but it did introduce me to the building, and I realized I really loved it, and I loved the history, and the location's great. And so it's been really good. It is like frustrating because in our online spaces, you can get up and run so quickly on things, and in a physical space, there are things you can't just do.
Yep.
You have to like have a seat for people to sit in, and you have to get the hardware, and they're doing renovation outside, and it's like there are certain things that can and can't really be accommodated at the moment. And but the space is here now, so like the possibilities now are so much wider. And I've been reflecting with my biz bestie Tanya Kubo, who you both also know, and she told me, she's like, I'm really curious to see what happens when you have a brick and mortar space, because it changes the way your customers relate to you. And I've already experienced this as an online service provider of like over a decade. I have spent so much on marketing and educating and building trust and credibility and authority. And there is something about having the keys to a physical space, not that you don't still have to build all those things, but people immediately, they can see a tangible thing. They can touch the walls and they're like, oh, you have a thing. I think the thing that I am struggling the most with right now is that when I say podcast studio or YouTube studio, a lot of people are like, oh, a closet.
Right.
A closet with a mic. And I'm like, no, like an actual boutique studio. And I have increasingly realized more and more that after having worked in entertainment for so long, a lot of other people don't have that experience. So they've not had the experience of knowing like the thing is booked in whatever studio and you show up at this place that day that's been rented and you just sort of assume everybody knows it. You can rent a space and, you know, you don't have to build it at home.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is sort of like the going trend with a lot of our online entrepreneurs. But now that I'm in the boutique space, obviously, like I do my market research and I have found a lot of people around the country building boutique spaces. I think it's going to become more and more. But outside of LA, New York, London, there are a lot of studios. The only one I found so far that is owned by another woman exclusively like me is in McAllen, Texas.
Wow.
That's really cool.
That's really cool.
I love this.
I haven't even bothered to see if there are any in Vegas, but I always love to learn what you're doing and be like, what can I steal potentially for my own?
Yeah. My big vision, like my big vision is obviously like get this sustainable and running. I always have the head trashed. I think like any entrepreneur does, where I'm like, what if nobody comes? It doesn't work.
That's everybody's.
I don't know that that's going to be the case. I have a lot of people who are predicting otherwise, despite my own head trash, and despite like the actual like data on spreadsheets. And what I would like to do is expand capability up here, but potentially either franchise or just expand to other places and spaces like mid-size.
Yeah.
Like, you know, the Vegases and of the world.
Yeah, which could be so, I mean, I've been thinking about it a little bit. It could be so cool because everybody comes to town for conferences.
Right?
You could just be like, okay, you came for a conference.
Conference.
They always like slap together, you know, like where they're doing recordings. Could we put something close by that's easy and accessible?
Yeah.
And real estate is a lot cheaper down there.
Right. Yeah. And there's a lot of people moving out of the big markets like LA. So I'm watching a lot of my old entertainment friends move out of the area or migrate. And a lot of them are coming up here. There's a lot of creators. Yeah. And there are a lot of people who are by default building cobbled together home setups because they can't rent a space. It's not available to them. Yeah. And so I really feel like there's a gap in the market. And it's a little weird to think like, I think I'm the first to market.
Over here, definitely.
Yeah, I don't know of another
Yeah.
space anywhere nearby.
Yeah. You'll remember when Mary was with us last year, we did Space and Kiln, which wasn't awful, but it was not, it's not the same.
Well, and I think that is the perception amongst our entrepreneurial community is, oh, I'll join that co-working space because I need a recording space or because I need community or whatever. And if that membership meets your needs, like fantastic. But the podcast studios, and I put really big quotes around that, they'll list it on their list of amenities and they'll call it a studio, but it's a room, sometimes with a couple of microphones. Sometimes they just leave you a boom arm and you bring your own and no technical support, terrible lighting, no real sets. And it reminds me of apartment buildings that are like, we're a luxury community because there's a gym here.
I hate things that call themselves luxury apartments. And I'm like, your minimum viable product apartment.
But they call themselves that and they're like, here's all the list of our amenities. We have a pool, we have a hot tub. Meanwhile, it's always broken. They have a gym. Meanwhile, it's a room with like a treadmill and a weight bench. And I feel like that is the equivalent in our entrepreneurial world of all these co-working spaces that have popped up. And they're like, we have a studio and it's a room with overhead fluorescent lighting and just not well taken care of equipment, and not like so after we're done here, this equipment will get sanitized, it will get cared for. When you walk into that studio, let the plane go.
I know that was like it was not like a regular.
I know, I was
airplane.
looking at it 'cause I was
definitely
like,
looked like a fighter, like an
Yeah.
old timey fighter.
There
plane.
is an old airfield over here.
Oh,
called
okay.
Dothan
That makes
Airfield. And then I'm waiting for the fighter. Their fighter jets do take off every day, but
Yeah.
but yeah, I really feel like the online entrepreneurial community is starting to realize that the world has changed. We already know that, but also there are a lot more options. And because the media world is starting to play in our world, I think all of our existing community that didn't previously come from media is now waking up, and they're like, wait a minute, like, where did you come from? Why are you doing these things? And they're like, well, how are they doing that so well? And it's like, because they have an actual studio set up, like a real one.
Yeah.
And there are other studios around town here that are just simply not open to the public. Like they're only available if you are part of their agency client roster, et cetera, et cetera. And so while they do have something kind of like this, you can't book it.
Yeah, it's not
You can't get
accessible
access
to
to
you.
that.
Yeah.
And so I really wanted something that was more accessible, and especially for people who are like, I'm just starting out. I really don't know what I'm doing. Why would you buy all of this if
Yeah.
you're not sure that you're going to stick with it and that you like it? And also to get some coaching and support, because it's weird to sit at a microphone when you aren't used to microphone hogging like I do.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with that either.
I don't know if we had said it on previous episodes, but I mean, a lot of what we did in Take the Leap was inspired by me going and recording with you the
Yes.
first time and being like, okay, and then being at Podcast Movement and being able to learn in that space, which I wouldn't have had unless you were like, do you want to come to Denver? And I was like, hell yeah, I want to come to Denver. That's just a 12-hour drive away from me.
I can't believe you drove it the whole way.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It was so great. And like that's another example of a studio space. It was in a co-working space. It was really beautiful, but like we had a lot of problems with our
Microphones
files, and they were kind of messed up, and my sound guy Chris is amazing, and so he fixed it for us. But again, another example of a beautiful co-working space with a luxury amenity.
Your podcast is amazing, though.
Oh, thank you. I feel very behind on it. I've been watching you guys just tackle it, and I'm like, get it.
It's like the one, well, we all know this. This is the one thing I can be consistent at, but I think it's because I have an accountability to make
yeah.
it.
Like a co-host is
yeah.
really nice.
Yeah. That was, I can't remember who I was talking to recently, but they were like, oh my God, it must be so nice to have a co-host. And I was like, yeah, we forgive each other when we're behind on stuff.
Yeah.
And also we have fun every week when we get to
Exactly.
record. So
Well, and that's what keeps it, I think, with any project. If you're not in it, it's gonna stop, right? And so like having a co-host, having a friend, a co-host who's a friend,
yeah.
I think that's kind of the key
Yes.
to us doing content consistently. And, you know, we're not necessarily experts in the podcast area, but like I feel pretty good about the content that we're putting out.
Yeah.
So
I still feel weird that people listen to me like every week.
I know. I forget.
Right.
I was telling, I think it was like Michael or somebody we interviewed recently, and I was like, I kind of forget that people listen to us. Like sometimes it's like, oh yeah, because especially since I don't do the editing,
Oh, right. You don't hear it
I
again.
don't hear it
unless you
again
listen
until
to
I
it.
listen to it when
live.
it's live.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like that was that fun thing that I did, but it doesn't ever really cross my mind that other people are also listening to it. And then we'll have like guests or people just tell me like, oh, I listened to that episode last week. I'm like, oh, you did? Like it just kind of.
We do love when guests prep by listening to what
I
other
know,
people
it's so
have
sweet.
talked
It's so sweet.
So good.
Yeah.
I should hope that they would.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need to know the vibe of a podcast before you go on it. And yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity in here for people to do a lot of crossover and collaboration. I'm going to start hosting meetups in here, and then educational things too.
Yeah.
I'm sure we will all be back in here doing all kinds of stuff in here. But yeah, it's
I
different.
just burped into the microphone.
I couldn't hear it. Oh. And if it happened, we're all on separate tracks. So
Yeah.
I think we should leave it. I think it was sexy.
Yeah. It's really fun to have evolved into this.
Yeah, this is really cool. I'm so impressed by you. I mean, you impress me anyway, but like then like to like watch you go through that process of like, oh, you know, I have this idea, and then to like, oh, well, here it is, like, is super cool.
Yeah, it feels fast and slow at the same time, and it's so not done right now. Like there is no decor in here yet, like the way I want. Like the set isn't fully dressed. But
I guarantee you, when I walked in here, I did not think to myself, oh, this isn't done yet. I walked in here and I was like, oh my God, this is so cool.
Thank you.
So I guarantee you nobody else is thinking about that.
Yeah, my brain is always on detail things, and I really love luxury. I love luxury brands. I worked in like big blockbuster movie making world where details matter. And so for me, like it's really hard and to not get stuck in the like, oh yeah, it's really great. But also I have like a laundry list of things, but like little picky things will get to me. So like the mugs at the coffee station were all bought from the same brand that I love online called Untamed Ego. And because I am a terrible potty mouth, and I really believe that women who get on the mic should feel free to be as chaste or as filthy as they please.
Agreed.
Yeah. and so all of the mugs are some variation of some fucking statement, you know, and
I love it.
yeah. I think the cleanest one says, at least my trauma made me funny. That's the cleanest one.
Okay, now I did not stop and look at them, and I love that there's different statements because then people get to choose what they relate
what
to.
they really want to,
Yeah.
and especially for my neurodivergent folks, like I used to do this in all my systems coaching, where I was like, "You are your best system." We've talked about this on the other episodes, and I will always encourage people who are nervous or they're not quite sure, and like sometimes you just like don't know what to do with your hands, and it's like, have a mug, and it's something physical that you can touch, so you stay here in the moment. And it's like, and pick the saying that you want, you know, pick the mug that, you know, makes you feel really confident. Like our friend Eunice Brownlee was in here earlier in the week, and her mug that she chose was fueled by spite and caffeine. And so, you know, she had her mug, but that way, you know, maybe people don't notice those details when they're watching you on the video or in your social content, but you know, and it makes you feel more confident. It makes you find some humor and some levity, so you can like release somatically all that tension of like, oh my God, I'm going to sit down and like do the thing.
Do the thing, yeah. Yeah.
That's a really good point. Because, yeah, I think maybe like a few years ago, I probably would have been super nervous to sit down. Now I'm just like, here I am.
Well, yeah, well, we ended up tossing, I think we ended up tossing like a few of our early episodes where we're like
practicing
I think we ended up referencing like things related to the holidays, and we didn't launch till like March. So we're like, we're just going to cut those because like they're going to make no sense, like out of order at all. But practice makes... I don't want to say perfect. I'm trying to get rid of the word perfect because I feel like perfection is dumb, and you should be.
I can get behind that.
Making progress. Momentum. I like momentum over perfection.
You know what? I love that. That really, you just helped me in this moment. I'm like, because I tend to want things to be perfect, and I'm like, it's not. I know it's not perfect, but it is. It's more about just continual progress and momentum.
Yeah.
And I think people don't really want perfect anyway. Like they do want it somewhat polished in some situations, but also like messy and chaotic is just how we are, how life is. And I think we're all just getting to the point where we're like, oh yeah, we're not celebrities.
No.
So we're just going to do life the way we normally do it.
Maybe we'd be. We are not all St. Pedro, whose
oh my goodness
candle graces the entrance to the studio.
I love that. Of course, Pedro's in here.
Yeah,
it has to be.
He has to be.
He's on my dream guest list. Like He's third degree separation in my network.
What?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
If I wanted to like really squeak it out, I would say second degree, but it's really not that strong second degree connection.
So let me ask you this. What would you interview him about if you had him on the podcast?
Oh my goodness. I think I would interview him about the stuff that we're talking about now, because I think the thing that people relate so much is that sort of chaotic, messy, like you get to see me exactly as I am. I'm not pretending to like be more glamorous or whatever than I am. And I think people really find it very endearing. They're like, that's a real human.
Yeah.
And, you know, and it started as a joke in my world, because in season 1 that Ashlyn was on School of Moxie podcast, everyone was assigned an episode from season 1 of The Last of Us. And the man is so memeable that I purposely chose it so that I could piggyback on existing SEO. And to this day, it works like gangbusters. I still get so many listens on my season 1 podcast because people
are looking
search for The Last of Us.
Yeah.
And those are they're great episodes. And so, you know, it started with that. It was very memeable. He's continued to be memeable. And then it's just sort of become this regular thing. And somewhere along the way, like people just latched onto it. And I still get, everyone sends me DMs of him.
Of Pedro.
Oh, yeah.
Constantly.
I mean, all the time.
All the
Anything
time.
that I feel,
Yes.
When I think of Pedro, I think of you.
Right? And I was like, oh my God, if I met him, I'd be so mortified in so many ways.
I feel like that can't be the only instance where he has met somebody who...
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. But yeah, there's a lot of humanitarianism in him that I think is great for a really good conversation, because we're lacking so much compassion in the world right now. And in the way he just handles, he gets a lot of haters and critics because he's famous, and that happens. The more famous you get, you'll get your haters and critics. And to have a conversation with somebody who is handling that and probably doing a lot of private work, maybe therapy work, to make sure you navigate that well, I think is important. But I think the most interesting thing about his background is that, you know, his career didn't pop when he was young.
Yeah,
it took him a lot of years of just being a really good, consistent worker who fulfilled his requests and promises and contracts and showed up on time and did the job and was nice to people and wasn't an asshole. And, you know, and everyone in the industry genuinely loves him.
To work with him.
They like to work with him.
Yeah.
And I'm somebody who loves celebrity gossip. And so I follow these gossip columnists, and people write in and they're like, do you know anything about Pedro Pascal? And this one, she's always like, honestly, she's like, no, nobody ever has anything bad to say
about him. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Which is so rare.
Yes.
Yeah. And then the ones that normally, like, if there is like, oh yeah, they're really nice, they're really sweet, normally that turns out that that's not the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, in the back of my mind, because we live in a world where I'm always like, is the other shoe going to drop? And I was like, there's my anxiety. And I'm like, oh God, please don't tell me that something bad will ever come out, because people associate me with this person now. But yeah, I think things like that make things memorable and unique, and in things like naming the studio after my favorite cryptid, and to anchor it firmly in the region that it originates from is really important.
I thought it was really hilarious as I was driving up here that Northern California was trying to claim Sasquatch because of the redwoods.
Oh,
and I was
gosh.
just like,
No.
y'all need to fuck off right now, because he's
like
definitely further north.
It's like when people claim, they're like, he's been seen down in Florida. And I'm like, Florida can go fuck itself.
Yep.
Respectfully, I lived in Florida, but also no.
Respectfully, there's a lot happening in Florida, and they can just go fuck.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm not saying that to the people who live there. I'm just saying Florida as a general rule. Okay, so speaking of Sasquatch, I'm sorry, I don't know why I'm going down like a supernatural road today. It must be on my mind.
Anytime.
It's the place and space.
It's the place and space. I got on a side of TikTok that like forces me to not sleep at night. And that was like the Appalachian side of TikTok.
Yes.
Which then morphed also into kind of like a Sasquatch side. And there is like a theory there are like these stories, and I don't remember if it was in like Washington or Oregon, but somewhere in the mountains.
Yeah.
There is like a theory that like Sasquatch is actually, and I had to stop watching because I was like, I can't keep watching these things right before bed. That they were actually like people who had been left and abandoned and have like they're part people, part not people, and people have actually like, and there's like groups of them and people have actually run into them. And so when you hear of like hikers going missing and
like they
stuff
go join
like that.
them?
Yeah, and there's like a whole like thread on TikTok that not thread, but you know, like a whole group.
The Sasquatch cult.
Yeah, I had to stop watching because like they were like they're really scary and they'll like rip you to shreds.
I
and
figure
like
any kind of cryptid is actually like mermaids are not cute, like they're vicious, you know. Yeah, my favorite is the running joke in the area, and they're like, no, it's not Sasquatch. It's just some like hippie who got in the lost in the woods a couple decades ago.
I just have access.
Like, I just am done with people. I'm done with, I love that theory. I love that theory
not
too.
Unshaven and just really dirty and just like.
And this theory was sort of like that, but it was a lot darker, and it scared me. And then obviously the Appalachian side of TikTok scares the shit out of me.
Oh my god!
I can't watch those videos for long because I'm like, I just can't do it.
No, that's like our friend Lydia that we now know who lives in
That's
Appalachia.
right.
And she's
She
like Appalachian culture.
Yep.
And it's a thing.
It's a real thing. Oh, so okay, here's what I'm curious about. So, we went to the East Coast last year, but we were like in New York and where else were we?
We were in Boston, right? Yeah,
and like kind of that area. But like where we were in like upstate New York, we were technically part of that mountain range and the trail and stuff. Mm-hmm. And someone was like, I'm trying to figure out like, is it the entire mountain range? Does that count as territory, like Appalachian territory, or? And is that where all the scary stuff happens? Or is it just in specific
It seems
areas?
to be concentrated more in that, like Virginia.
That's what I was thinking.
Like North Carolina
West Virginia,
corridor.
Kentucky.
That corridor right in the middle. Because the mountain range goes from like north of New York all the way down to like Georgia, I think.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but I don't know why. I was like, why just the Bermuda Triangle? I mean.
Right. It's wild.
Why is Nessie only found in Loch Ness?
I know.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, there is something in that water.
Oh,
I have
there
sat
has
in a
to
flat
be.
bottom boat on that water.
Oh.
And the tour guides, they have like a very cheesy tour. And so they tell you these beautiful legends. And I mean, it's gorgeous scenery. Like the landscape is stunning up there in Scotland. But you'll sit there and they distract you. And then the guy in the back of the boat like shakes the boat.
Does it? Yeah.
And everybody screams in the middle of the lake. And
I want to believe that it's like one of the last living dinosaurs.
I
that
do
it
too.
just
do
hides
too.
really well because it wants to live. Because
I mean, our ecologists discover new species of all manner, large and small, every year. There's so many things that we don't know about.
yeah.
Exactly. That have been around a lot longer than us, I'm sure.
So I really like infusing that energy into this physical space of like, you might just be very mythic, and to have sticky power like Sasquatch is kind of cool.
Yeah. I like it.
Okay,
Well-
you brought up Appalachia, and I've been wanting to talk to somebody about the whole Cracker Barrels thing.
Please.
So, like,
What a dumpster fire.
Well, and I didn't follow it fully, so I don't know all the full details. I just saw a meme on TikTok that was like, wait, they removed the cracker and the barrel?
that is
Is that
great.
the whole point?
That's so funny.
Well, the right wingers felt like they woked the logo. I saw it as just like a design
It's a simplified.
trend.
I mean,
It's been a design trend to simplify and flatten things lately.
Yeah. Also,
And
so you can print it on shit and use it a little bit better.
You know what I thought? Actually, I thought, they're gonna save a fuck ton of ink.
Yes.
Because
they were putting it on their menus and stuff.
There was so much extra ink, and now it's just the words. They almost changed it just to a word stamp more than anything.
Yeah.
And they kept their brand colors, but I don't know. I think people make too much of logos and design, and at least in the business world, I mean, you guys know how I feel about this. I'm like, if you have enough time to care that deeply about futzing with this shade of that or that, or the kerning on your font, like you are not busy enough with enough clients.
Yeah,
That's true.
exactly.
Or you need a hobby. Like,
Yeah. So when we were when John and I were talking about it, it was just so funny because I'm like, dude, know your fucking audience. I'm just gonna call it out. Most of it is like the uneducated South. Like, know who comes to your restaurants and how mad they're gonna be if you do something like that. Yeah,
it did make me wonder. I also wondered the same thing. I thought, are you paying attention to
who your people are?
And also, I was under the impression that Cracker Barrel as a business has been just financially not doing fantastically well.
Yeah.
And I thought, and you want to rebrand now? Like, is that really where you want to spend your money? Because in a smaller business, in an online business, if I'm having a crunchy financial season, I'm not going to pay for a whole new branding package.
No.
Yeah. Well, and that's rarely the problem.
Exactly.
That's rarely the problem.
Yeah.
That's penny pinching. Well, that's spending money. And then, like you said, with the printing thing, penny pinching in the wrong place.
Yes. But you know, if you don't know where else to find productivity, branding,
you're going to find it. Yeah.
You are going to find people
great.
futzing with their branding till the end of time because it makes you feel busy because at least you did something and you can see it because the really unglamorous stuff is to do the stuff you can't see, like, you know, systems.
Fix your operations.
Fix that. Yes, I agree with that. Yeah, correct, bro. I went there for the first time when we went to the East Coast. There was one like really close to our hotel. And so we went there because I was like, I feel like
Wait,
this
you
is
had
an
never been to
experience.
one before?
I had never been to one.
I still have never been to
You've
one.
never been to a Cracker Barrel?
No.
Wow.
No.
Oh, I see. I grew up in Michigan, and we would go visit family in southern Indiana, like right on the border, and like a lot of family lives
That
in
makes
Louisville.
me feel better that you've been to it because the main reason that we haven't gone is I don't look like I should be in Cracker Barrel. Is my husband's main
I've
thing.
never felt like I should
like
not
unsafe.
Yeah, I've never felt like I don't belong or unsafe or anything.
Okay.
If anything, they were fantastic restaurants.
They were really sweet. Yeah.
With a good bathroom and then good sit down food. Like the quality, I think the quality of a lot of things has declined over the years, but at least back then, it was really fantastic because you could go into a Cracker Barrel, get like a good, like hearty breakfast or lunch.
Yeah.
And then they had all these like quirky, gifty things that you could shop for. And way, way, way back in the day, so I'm really dating myself, they had real country hams, salted hams hanging from the ceiling, and you could buy them. And my dad's sister, she had married my uncle, who was from like that lower Indiana, upper Kentucky region. And he grew up salting hams. And while his parents were still alive, we would come home with salted hams from their smokehouse.
Oh, that's so cool.
And like, it's the kind of ham that you have to soak to remove the salt, and like even when you eat it's like very, very salty, but it's a way to cure the meat because way back in the day before refrigeration, you would salt it and it would live in these salt barrels. And so Cracker Barrel would sell these kinds of things, and they had jams and honeys and things that you like now. It's so easy to get access to them because of e-commerce, but we didn't have e-commerce back then. And so you'd be on like a road trip and you'd be like, yeah, let's go to Cracker Barrel because we can get some of these sort of like country food things.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I never felt weird. I mean, I'm mixed. So, you know, I have my Asian mom, but my white dad, and then my sister and I are both mixed mutts. And none of us ever felt like weird. We love that they used to toss biscuits. I don't think they do that anymore.
I don't think so.
But they would like toss them across, and that was the thing. And it was like, can I get a biscuit? And the guy would like, biscuit. And like half the time you'd catch it, and half the time you wouldn't. And
their biscuits were pretty good.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie.
And so yeah, that was always my relationship with Cracker Barrel. And then of course as an adult, I've eaten at a Cracker Barrel, especially when I lived down south, quite a few times. And I just noticed I was like the meals aren't as great as they used to be. Yeah. They used to be better, but I think that happens when chains get really large.
I was going to say, and the further that they get away from the
core
original.
Yeah.
So I think they've gotten away from their core since like 1990, you know?
Honestly, it reminded me of like a step up from like a Denny's or a Sherry's.
Yeah. That's
with
kinda how
like
it's
a
become.
gift shop. And the gift shop, I don't know if like the original intent was to be like cutesy gifts, but like now they had like Disney products. They had like
What?
They had like a lot of like
So weird.
like you go to like I don't know like a Hallmark or something like that, and like that was like the level of
Oh, yeesh.
gifts that they would have.
Oy.
There was like lots of stuffed animals. There was like, and like
Yeah.
we were in New York, so like there was also like New York stuff. I mean, it wasn't like Manhattan, but it was like upstate New York. So it was like New York, like mementos that you would get, like gifts that you'd get
Like
and bring home.
souvenir
Yes,
type
thank you.
things.
That was
Yep.
the word I was
I
looking
knew
for.
what you were going
Souvenirs.
for. Souvenirs.
That's kind of like what they had there.
Oh, see, when I was a kid, it was salted hams hanging from the ceiling. It was like honey sticks, like the homemade candy things, you know.
So like things that you would get at like a farmer's market.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
they
didn't
had
really
the
have that vibe anymore.
No, they had the kitschy gifts too, but it was charming back then because you didn't have 1,000,001 Etsy stores
Right.
selling cheesy signs and badly printed aprons and tea towels, you know, but you could get those there.
That's
Yeah.
a really good point. Yeah. Yeah. And it was like, it was more novel then. And now it's just kind of like, okay.
Yeah.
It's just a chain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I feel like I sound like an old fart.
It's okay.
It's okay. We all get old.
If it makes you feel any better, every time I come back and like things change here, I just get really grumpy about it.
Yeah.
So,
Portland and Vancouver, this whole area has changed
It's
so
just,
much.
yeah.
So
So
much.
much.
So much.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been here over 10 years now, and the city I moved to is not
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
I
Some
rarely
ways
go back
good,
into
but some ways
Beaverton,
bad.
but like, yeah, that's where like, you know, did middle school, high school, and everything's changed
So much.
so much.
The only
I
constant
hate going
is
to
change.
Beaverton.
Well, yeah, I'm solidly an East Sider now. I just don't.
Well,
ever
and
go
now
there.
there's a
Traffic.
99 ranch on the east
I
side.
heard.
So you don't have to go all the way to Beaverton anymore.
There you go.
My mom said that. She's just like, I don't know why these people are going so crazy. There's always been one in Beaverton. And I was like, Mom, you don't work full time. And also, nobody wants to drive
Nobody
to
wants-
the other side of
And
the
you have
river.
to go through that tiny little corridor by the zoo and the gardens.
And you're stuck in
oh my God.
traffic for hours. Even if there's no traffic on the way there will, like at one of your trips,
Yeah.
will have traffic.
Yes.
You
I also
cannot
didn't
avoid
know
it.
that they had a 99 ranch market here because I had experienced one for the first time in Vegas.
Oh, yeah.
And so I was just like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then there was already one on the west side, and I was like, oh, I always
on the
would
west
go
side, that's
to
why.
La Jumaya. Like,
Yeah.
that was my thing.
Well, the big H Mart in Tiger
yeah.
Beaverton is beautiful. And that 99 ranch there is older, but this one is new, and the produce is beautiful.
It's good.
And
I need
they're going to have a
check it
dim sum restaurant by the end of the year.
out. Oh, that's
That'll be
really
fun.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
You popped my dim sum cherry,
I did.
and I'm now hooked. So every time we want to go, I'm good.
I know. We haven't decided what we're doing for lunch today.
No, well, we don't have time to go get dim sum.
That's true.
But we'll get something yummy around town.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I'm already ready
I
for
know. I'm
lunch.
saying
I
I'm
know.
getting hungry.
Yeah. Well, I'm so thrilled. First of all, congratulations on season 3. We're recording for season 3 right now.
Yeah, which is incredible.
Which is incredible. Most podcasts quit by episode 4.
wow.
Uh-huh. And especially for women in podcasting, of course, like the demographics is still considerably lower than the male demographic who podcasts. But I'm really thrilled that we continue to have conversations. And now we have a space to come do it. Because the
know.
last time we were like, where are we going to do it?
Yeah.
Exactly. We had to
This is
figure it
perfect.
out. And we wanted to hang out in person. We did not want to do the behind the TV screen, behind the computer screen thing. So,
Yes. Well, I mean, so Ashlyn, you and I have recorded quite a bit in person now at this point, and now Tori, you and I have also done the same. And my question is, this is just me being totally curious, but what do you notice is the difference between recording with people virtually online or seeing them in person? Because I know I'm biased, but I feel like the vibe changes.
The vibe is definitely changed. I mean, the energy here is like, I love it's just like we're having a conversation. And I know that we try to make that or replicate that feeling through our screens. And I know people really like that about our podcast, but like it's so much easier to do here in person. And I mean, also there's the added benefit of like, I feel like this is way more professional than how we're doing it. And like, we're probably going to sound a lot better and we probably look a little more legit, but even just taking that out, the conversation feels easier. The energy feels easier.
It's different.
It's different. Yeah.
I feel like you and I talk over each other less this way.
Yeah,
we do that a lot.
Yeah, because there's also
the lag.
There's a
lag online.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think we can read our physical, like, I don't think we realize how much we use physical cues, that unspoken cues in everything that we do.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah.
So folks, if you want to record a podcast and you're in the Vancouver area, highly recommend checking out Mary's studio, Sasquatch Media Grounds. We'll definitely have a link in the show notes, and we'll also link to her rates and everything like that, so you can check it out. Because this is so much easier.
Thank you. Yeah, my goal is there's hourly rates, because there's always people who are like, I just need an hour here or there. But my goal with the business community, because that is who I service, is to have regular production, like monthly packages for people, and they're on there too. And of course, people can talk with me about custom things they need. I've already had some people who are like, well, what if I want to bring my own gear? I'm like, great. You know, like, let's talk about what you need, and we'll just have you have your regular package. And I feel like it's really helping me communicate with my client base and beyond about how much we have to think about our marketing content differently, instead of haphazardly like, oh shit, I've got an episode due, to like, okay, can I be more economical about this? What if I took it out of hobby mindset into professional mindset, and I like batch my season? And of course, shit always hits the fan. We're all doing it. I still do it to this day, where I'm like, I gotta assemble my Sunday to Saturday newsletter, you know, but when it comes to things like this, if you produce it well, and sometimes you need help, that would be me, to help you get it all organized so that you can call in your guests and figure out who's going to be remote, who's in person, and just boom, 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 knock them out. You know, you save yourself a lot of headache and a lot of extra just operating expenses and effort, so that you can focus on more important things, because this should be bringing in visibility, which should bring in leads, which should bring in conversions and being paid and income, revenue. And, you know, if you're not getting that, then to me, like, there's something not right about the production. And of course, there are people where they're like, this is just truly my hobby. I have met a few people in my time who are like, I really love podcasting. I know it's an expensive hobby, but I just have fun doing it. Yeah. And I'm like, great, at least you know. But I don't know that a lot of our business owners have really sat down and thought about it and figured that out.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, you know, where was I going with this? I was gonna say, I feel like there's also the other side of it too, with business owners where they're like, oh, well, podcasting the thing, we should do a podcast, without having any sort of idea or planning going into it at all. Yeah. Like, oh, we should just have a podcast and promote our business. I'm like, people aren't going to listen to you to promote your business. That's not.
No, none of us are Pedro Pascal.
No.
So they're not going to listen to us.
We're not celebrities.
Even though we're here bantering and chatting and having fun. The average episode that you do, they don't really want to hear about you talk about your breakfast. They don't care. I do that as a sound check, which we did. And if you choose to put in the episode, great. But that is a trick that I learned from my entertainment days with sound engineers who would do mic checks, you know, because I would do lectures at Disney Animation and Pixar, and they would always sound check me on the mic, and they're like, okay, Mary, tell me what you had for breakfast. And the reason why you do it is because if you just do test 1, 2, 3, it's not natural.
Not a sentence.
And so when you tell them something natural and you have to think about it, and there's the ums and the ahs, you get a better sense of like how much gain. Like, Ashlyn, your gain is up higher because I can, like, there's a way that you're talking, and you know, I think just learning, like, you don't do this alone. We know we don't do any of our things alone. But I think there's a lot of people out there still who are doing a lot of things alone and not realizing that it's not that you're lonely and you didn't fuck up.
Yeah.
Like, you just literally, nobody told you, because the coaching program that you were a part of, she also does everything alone and doesn't know. And, you know, and you just keep learning the same unhelpful habits from the same people who learned it from the unhelpful habits before them and before them. And because online coaching has become very MLM, like, there's a lot of very unhelpful habits that have infiltrated the industry. And the same goes true for the bro dude habits too.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or the coaches who are saying that they're doing it all alone are completely fucking lying to you.
Yes.
And
they have a whole team behind them.
Yep. They have whole teams that they don't want to admit to because you are the person that they are trying to convince to buy
So
their
then
things.
people get this unrealistic idea of what it's like to run a business by yourself. And then they feel like they're constantly behind.
It's totally false. And one of the things I love doing is sitting down with somebody and their favorite, you know, guru personality that they sort of worship quietly or privately. And I love, like, dissecting them apart with them and explaining to them. So they'll show me, like, all the email campaigns and I'm like, okay, I can immediately tell you they do not do this alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's no way that you can have this many funnels and that many automations and this much copy coming out. And you were doing that and taking sales calls and running webinars and coming up with all the ideas on your own, and you produce a podcast by yourself. I don't think so.
No.
So no.
Yeah.
No. I don't care how smart you are, how gifted you are, like, at that stuff. Like, yeah, there's no way.
Either that or you're just not sleeping.
Yeah, and I'm sure that they're also not sleeping, but but there's just no way. And after having worked in the back end of other bigger brands and coaching programs, I know how many people are behind the scenes, and it's very shocking to some people when they realize that that person has a team of like 24.
Yep.
Yeah. And they're making a lot of money, but it's because they have the support. And you don't as a solopreneur. So stop trying to do the same, because it's not going to work. The same strategies are not going to work. Just like the books written by already rich white men who went and started businesses with their trust fund, or, you know, the support of a wife and a housekeeper and all these other things. Like,
Or their
they had
nipple
different
baby.
support. Yeah, exactly. They had different support systems than you have. And so if you try to use their same strategies and advice, my favorite ones are like, well, you just need to get up a little bit earlier and you need to start, like, monitoring your day. I'm like, okay, bitch, that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
I wake up earlier. My son wakes up with me. Like,
Wait, you're not waking up at 4:30 and having your meditation sound bath,
having an hour
and,
to
like,
yourself to do
yoga
that,
and
and,
like
like,
going
get
to the gym and
that doesn't fucking work for me.
We were just playing Cards Against Humanity at the Coast, and one of the cards was like white ladies in yoga commercials or yogurt commercials. You know, like that perfect morning day. Like,
true.
whose life is that?
Nobody's, unless you are already super rich. You have somebody making your breakfast for you. You have somebody, like, getting your kids to school for you. Like,
well, and let's be honest, right? Like, I love Ali Wong. Her little bit has gone viral again from one of her stand-up things where she's like, what I need is a wife. Do you know how much richer I would be if I had a wife? And so whenever I look at people who do things at an incredible rate or to a very incredible degree very quickly, I'm always like, what else do you have going on that enables you to have life sustained in the background that you don't have to do it all yourself? And it's everything from as simple as a dual income household to having, like, multiple nannies on staff. Or it could even be that they do have the trust fund, and so money's just less of an issue. You know, there's a lot of people who ask for me, and I'm always very transparent. I'm like, I have crazy access to crazy credit. It's a terrible story about how I got there. It is not a happy story, but I do have it, and it has helped me do the self-funding a lot quicker, you know, but that is finite. I don't want to overuse it or abuse it. And so there's like but there are things I can do that if you are stuck with cash, like hard cash only, you are not going to be able to acquire things at the same rate at which I will be able to acquire them.
Right.
And so I know know that is a thing. However, I've got other things that balance out my life. I am not a dual income household. I do not have the luxury of, I'm so tired. Well, I guess if I don't make money this month, well, I guess my, spouse's salary will cover me. And it's like, I don't have that. And so there are things like everybody has some mix of things. And there are some people who have more things than others. But I think the reason why we see so many of our bros in this space move faster is because they do have wives who will take care of the kids and make it look like they got it all. And that's very fortunate for them. But if I had a wife, I'm sure I would do 10 times more than I do now.
Shout out to my house husband, John, because right? Whenever people ask, like, what does he do? And I'm like, he does my laundry and he cooks me breakfast, lunch, and dinner if I want, and is there to support my puppy and also make sure that I eat and rest and go on walks and asks when are the meetings, when do you have breaks, when can you do stuff, and it is such a blessing. And I would not be where I am today in my business if I didn't have that support system.
We all have different things, and then some things we go through seasons. Tori, you're a mom right now. I've mommed. You and I were talking about this before we got on the mics. I don't know how you do it. If I was raising a kid right now, this would not be happening. There's no way.
It'd be so hard.
There's no way.
Yeah. And the people who do start businesses with kids, big, ventures that you see on TV, and I'm thinking of Joanna Gaines, every new thing that they acquire and they do, they have, again, a team of support. If Beyonce wants to do something, that's great. She might have the same 24 hours in a day that you have, but
they're different.
They're different 24 hours because she's got a whole team of people who support her, so it's easy to get into that trap of I should be doing more, but you can't.
Yes.
You're only one person.
Yes.
You have to be realistic with your own resources.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Be realistic with your own resources.
And your biggest resource is you and your health. And we all talk outside of here about our health journeys, and you cannot destroy your body. And I also look at people's ages too. I know I pass for much younger, but I look at some of these kids these days and they're 25. And I'm when I was 25, I also lived on caffeine and beef jerky. And I would sleep one full day on a Sunday. And I would sleep 2 hours every night the rest of the week to, do whatever. You can't do that at a certain age. It doesn't work that way. Your body breaks down. It's really hard on your body. But even the people who are in their 30s and they're starting to feel their age, I'm you still have such a massive physical advantage. And so whenever I look, I'm God, I really am getting older, because I'm I'll hear about somebody who's 10 years or more younger than me, and they're oh, it's getting harder, but then I did this, and I'm yeah, at 35 I did too. And I was and at 46 definitely do not. And it changes a lot. So I think there are things that you just have to realize it's not a disadvantage. It's just that you rebalance your toolbox differently as things evolve.
Yeah, when I was younger, just right out of college, I'd get 4 to 5. I was fine on 4 to 5 to 6 hours of sleep a night.
Yeah.
And just powered through and did what you said. You just wake up, go to work, do the thing. Saturday and Sunday, you sleep 10 to 12 hours and you catch up. And then you start over again. And just ever since I started taking actually GLP-1, I have more rest, more restful sleep, and I can tell that it's hormone balanced, everything feels more normalized, but it's different, it's different, and I have to obey by my body rules and all of that. I can't push, want to push, because I just don't want to break myself.
Well,
So it's
are
been
important.
really interesting. And I don't know, the relentless overextension for productivity, for the sake of productivity, and getting things done, I think is just, we need to stop.
really need to stop.
Yes. I feel like we're starting to go through like a little bit of a tipping point collectively right now. I'm noticing that. You could call it economics or politics or whatever, and that's definitely affecting it. But I do see a lot of our, entrepreneurial crowd starting to question, but why? And instead of, it reminds me, it's sort of like a larger macro level of the change out of social media from a few years ago, because you used to be on every platform. You would claim your handle on every platform and try to post on everything. And then it was like, that's not sustainable. It's like pick two and really nurture one and kind of have like a secondary one.
Yeah.
And I feel like in terms of business strategy and marketing, people are starting to really evaluate and question what are those things. I mean, I would argue that email should always be one of the things.
Absolutely.
And I know I'm very biased, and we're sitting in my studio right now, so of course I'm very biased, but I really feel like video-based podcasting is the other big thing, because the larger your content, the more you can split it up and repurpose and use it. So you're being more efficient by default.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is really where some of that productivity conversation is coming out of. It's like, how do I maximize what I'm doing?
Absolutely. That's a really good point. And I feel like too, it's just the conversation of like, why would you be posting on all these platforms when your audience isn't there anyway?
Yeah. Or that you have no time to engage with them, because that's like the worst thing.
Because you're busy doing a million things.
Yeah.
But also, like, have you taken a moment to stop rushing to figure out where is my audience engaging?
Yes.
And one of my other like educational things, I'm sure everyone who follows studios can get sick of hearing me do this over the years, but I'm just like, can we stop doing the overproductivity, the bro thing, rush to market, be first, be fast, fail faster. And I'm like, why? I'm like, nobody's first to market anymore, which is ironic after I'm like, I think I might be first to market in my studio here. But like, I'm not the only person who has ever started a studio here in town. I am not the only person who has ever done a podcast. There's no such thing as I am the first Neanderthal to step foot on that planet. It's just not true. And so to be more judicious about the precious resources that you have, whether it is your money or it's your actual physical health, to spend more time in what I would call pre-production, but just business strategy time and go. And I think what happens is people really do need income and revenue. And it's like, well, there's 1,000,001 ways to make money.
Yeah.
And if you can't independently generate some sort of just great contract, but it's not the kind of thing you're going to Instagram about. But if you can't generate that on your own to pay your bills, it's like, then get a JOB job.
Yeah.
And it's like those realities of where this actually comes from, because we don't have the trust fund or we don't have the tech husband money or whatever. And that is such a shift for mindset in our business community, because I think we have been buying product in formulas over the years from people who, honestly, if they didn't make money in the next month, they're fine, because they're still going to get on the plane and go to Cabo.
Yep. That's a really good point. It's almost like we had the bro era of business, right? And then what that morphed into was like women in business doing like a girl boss version of it.
Yes.
Of like basically the same thing, but like
with lipstick on it.
Exactly. Just making it sound empowering when it was really just really, really shitty. And then like COVID happened. And I feel like for the first time, people were like, hey, this isn't feeling good anymore. And, all that stuff. But then I almost feel like we went back, like we reverted, like after like a year or two of that, we went back to like some of those same things. And so now I feel like you're right. Like people are like, hey, I'm really fucking tired. The world sucks. And I'm just continuing to try to be productive for the sake of being productive. Like this is not working anymore.
Yeah. I don't. I'm having this really personally, a really interesting phase right now with keys to a physical space, and the tangibleness of this office suite has got me thinking about my own business and the things I offer so differently. And I'm like, what do you get? And I don't know that our online service space has really delivered or been able to articulate, or both. What does that customer get?
Yeah.
And transformation is not a product.
Yeah,
Right.
no. You're right.
And so much of our coaching industry is based on transformation. And
Yeah.
I mean, I did it too.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, the whole problem with the transformation is it still relies on the person that you're selling it to be doing the work. And quite frankly, a lot of people, who go through multiple different programs and it's not changing. I'm like, one, you don't fucking want it enough.
Yeah.
To change.
Yes.
Yeah.
And two, like, maybe this just isn't meant for you.
Yeah.
Maybe this is just not the space for you, and you need to pivot and you need to change and, or go back and get the JOB job or, I mean, just similarly, like I don't know if we were already recording or talking about it, where you're just like, oh shit, the thing is happening, and I have to make the thing happen. I think like a lot of people get into those moments where they've been trying to make the thing happen, and it's not happening. And it's not working, and they just keep going after it. And you're like, okay, are you going to die on that hill, or are you actually going to figure out something else, or just, go back into the job market? Or there was one woman who I was helping coach through like a secondary program, and she felt so bad that she needed to like go back and do like part-time work to support her family. And I'm like, it's totally fine. Can you do your business as a side thing on the weekend? Like, how much hours can you dedicate to it? Build it back up over time. Because it was one of those cycles where she's like really busy during the summer, and like everything falls off during the winter. And so we were like trying to brainstorm other things. And I'm like, take the job part-time to pay your bills.
Yes.
And then like, figure out a pivot for this. And then, build it back up during the summer. But I was like, get something that you can like leave and not feel, that it was, oh gosh, so hard or ruins your reputation or something like that.
Yeah.
And so she was like, I'm so happy you gave me the permission to do that. Because sometimes people do need permission to do something that, when we push this culture of it's a failure if you have to go make income somewhere else.
Yeah.
I'm like, we live in a fucking capitalist society. We're never going to get away from this until, we can be like, we're great people and we just have money coming in, from somewhere else, which is never going to happen, for us here. Like you have to work within the space that you're given.
And that doesn't mean that you're failing. It means that you're doing what you need to do. You're again using those resources that you have. I remember I did have a client early on who it was a very similar situation, except it was basically she was all or nothing. So she originally started talking to me about starting her business, and then we had a check-in call a few weeks later, and she's like, okay, I quit my business. Now what? I'm like, ma'am, that is not.
That's not it.
That doesn't sound good. And then, of course, a few months later, it was, I think I might have to go back and get a job. I might have to quit this. And I'm like, well, you hadn't really even started, first of all.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that goes back to the pre-production and planning.
Yeah.
You should have a plan.
Yep.
You should be strategic,
And if you're constantly looking to other people for a plan,
There's a problem.
There's a problem. You're not ready, or this isn't cut out for you. Like, you have to at least have the framework. Of course, you can hire experts to help you. Of course, you can hire people to coach you through certain things, but you have to come, like, if you come to me with like I want to start a business. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. No, I totally agree. I feel like there are a lot of people who have not given themselves the space and grace to find their originality. And I'm going to be real bold and say there are some people who just don't have it. And it's so enticing to see somebody do something well in entrepreneurship and to be lured by the promise of freedom and money, and to not really know what goes into that. And when you get down to brass tacks, like I always will tell people, I'm like, at the end of the day, I will outwork you. I will outwork you at the end of the day. And when I meet other people who are like, I will be there outworking everyone else with you, it's like, yep, we're entrepreneurs. And it's like, you don't always have like all the resources and the seasons for that. Nobody does. But there are some people who never, ever want to go near that statement. They're like, I didn't come into this world to work hard. It's like, then you were meant to be a really great support person in a job and maybe an entrepreneurial environment is the right place where, you know, you get to be somebody behind the scenes who works with the person who is letting all the pressure ride on them, because at the end of the day, they will outwork everybody, but you are getting paid for a certain amount of hours, and you will get paid, and you will still get the money, and you still get the vibes, and you still get the things, but that hunger, like you're saying, Ashlyn, like the hunger for it, you have to have it. And so that's why I think like pre-production and anything is so useful, you know. And I used to do it with people through business coaching. Now it's through media production, because it was the thing people kept asking for in those spaces. But that pre-production process is really like, what is the idea? Where does this come from? Is it sustainable? And I do push people during that process to build and immediately start recording as soon as you have just enough so you can get a feel for it, a full 5-episode launch week, because in that process, you are going to discover so quickly, do I have the chops for this or not? It's amazing how many people are like, oh my God, I'm so tired. And I'm like, honey, you haven't even sat down to record season 1 yet. How are you going to get to episode 11?
Right.
Like, so like those reality checks are really important. And I always say, you know, wouldn't you have rather spent the $500 or $1,000 on a group course or workshop to figure out, should I do this, instead of spending thousands of dollars and years of therapy and health fixes and support needs and constantly like scrambling, like I can't pay my bills, I'm not making money. And it's like, that's a lot of stress to put yourself through because you actually weren't sure from the beginning. And I just think like there's a lot of opportunity for, you know, being entrepreneurial without maybe having to do the whole thing. And that's a real reality check for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's not for
That's
everyone.
a good point. It's not. There are other ways to be creative. If you are like, I want to use that creative side of my brain, and that's why I want to be an entrepreneur, that's great.
Yeah.
But if you don't have the resources or the energy or the work ethic for it, that's okay too.
Yeah.
Use your creative side differently.
Well, like, I can't remember if we talked about it the last time when we did season 2. I don't remember if that was with you guys on the mic. It might have been, but I've been talking with a lot of people lately about like, what is it that you want, and holding space for them to know that it's safe to admit. I'm like, do you want to be famous? Especially in the media space, especially with marketing. And there's a lot of people where it's like in the deepest, privatest parts, they don't even write it down in their journal. But they really desire is notoriety. And it's okay, where does that come from? Are you being seen, heard, and acknowledged in your everyday life? Because if you're not, you're trying to solve a therapy problem in a business context, and you will regret that.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of people, not that you shouldn't do your podcast for marketing, but you have to ask yourselves these questions, because it will guaranteed show up on your episodes and on the mic and in the guests you have and how you handle ups and downs. It will show up, and you're not going to ride through those tough times if the true desire is, I wanted to be famous. And I'm like, I am the last person to tell you don't pursue fame. There is a very clear path to fame. I mean, there's multiple ways to get to fame, but there's a very like clear road to Oz. Okay. And there's like different paths you can take along the way. I will support you 1,000% on the way to the path of fame. If that is what you want, if you want a huge following, you want to become the next Alex Cooper, there are things that we are going to work on and talk about that you are not going to work on and talk about if the goal is, I need to grow my services and I need to reach the right customers and educate them. And they're like practical episodes where you're engaging and you've got good guests and it's just a good solid show.
Yeah.
If you're going to be like, I want to call her daddy, you have got to approach that so many different ways. And it is going to be really hard. It's everything from your physical image to how you show up on social. You're going to have to spend money on paid traffic to grow your audience really quickly. Like there are so many things, and you are not going to have your friends on your podcast.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. You know who I like to look at if you really want to do like the famous route is the stuff that Amy Poehler's been doing, because she's been like adjusting based on like what is trend right now. And like, that's what I love about our podcast. And like every once in a while when I talk to other people who have podcasts, they're like, how are you getting your guests? You know, you can get them from this and this. And I'm like, we've been leveraging our networks. Yeah. We do not desire to have like, you know, Amy Porterfield, do you want to come be on the podcast? Great. That's not where I'm going. Yeah. That's not what our desire is.
But those relationships are pre-existing, and like Amy Poehler can have the guests she has on because she's had a career and she's worked with these people and she wasn't a dickhead and they want to be friends with her. They want to come on the podcast. And there are all these things that, you know, a lot of people desire to maybe have an Amy Poehler type thing. And it turns out that they don't really have the network. And it's like, there are going to be a lot of things you are going to do way off the mic for a while because you don't have access to those people yet. And you're going to be doing things like applying for speaking gigs and getting booked in conferences where you're very visible and people start seeing you over and over and over again. And that can be very exhausting. And a lot of people don't know just how tiring it is to be very recognizable.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really want to be stopped on the street.
No,
I just,
No, after working around celebrities for the first part of my career, I was like, that's exhausting.
Yeah. I have a people limit that I reach, and
yeah, even as an extrovert, I feel like I feel like my scales are tipping. I'm like, no, wait, I don't want people as much as I
was
used
getting
to.
energy from this, and now I need a nap.
So like these are the things that I like to hold space for, and I feel like because we've gone over the like initial growth curve of podcasts and YouTube, and we're now into mainstream. Yeah. Now it's like so much more accessible for so many more people. And I'm like, yes, finally. But also it comes with a lot of really hard hitting questions. And you know, if you don't have unlimited money, time, and resources, you do have to think about what you're doing and why you're doing it.
Yeah.
I'm glad you're holding space for people in that way, because at the end of the day, like the best thing you can do for your business, we've talked about this before, is to also go to therapy. Yes. And so if you're not going to therapy and you're not asking those questions, to have somebody who will ask those questions in your life is going to save you a lot of trouble in your business.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and podcasting is not the only thing either.
No.
It's part of your overall ecosystem to steal from our presentation that we did earlier.
But that's what you guys specialize in is what is the ecosystem. And I think it's such a great example of like you teach people ecosystem, and I picked like this tiny little niche within the ecosystem, and then there's other people like me with another tiny little niche in that ecosystem, and you have, and it's almost like paradox of choice. You almost have too much choice, and so you have to really figure out like where all the Venn diagrams meet up. Where do I have resources to spend? What is my natural inclination that I'm good at? What can I, do that's sustainable? And where do I, naturally have a voice instead of trying to just be like everybody else or force yourself to do something because some bro schmo on YouTube the other day said that you'll make tons of passive income. Newsflash is not passive, but I really think that, those are the things that we're working toward.
I love that.
Yeah. And sustainability.
Sustainability.
And just a friendly reminder that if there was a magic button for you to launch a business and make money passively, instantly, without any work,
we would have all pushed it a bit already.
We would have all been rich by now. So there really isn't a magical button out there.
No, you
There
are the
isn't.
magical button.
We are our own magical buttons.
With that, I have to tell you that we're recording another monster episode.
I love
know.
this. I love this.
okay.
We should
and
probably
I
wrap up
and I
soon.
want to make sure the camera doesn't run out too. So
I think that this is a good. I
This
was
is a
going to
good idea.
ask you about ChatGPT stuff, but we should do that in another episode.
We should do another
we should just
episode.
do
Totally do that.
another.
Yeah, let's do another episode.
we could do like an all AI episode.
Yeah,
that
let's
would
do an
probably
all
be
AI
really good for your SEO too.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
not mixed in with all the other stuff.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
great.
But yeah.
Well, then, go ahead.
Oh, I
sorry.
was going to say thank you, Mary, and thank you, Sasquatch Media Grounds, for
Yes.
hosting Take the Leap. We will probably be back here to do more because
Yes.
we love hanging with
Please
you,
come
and
back.
We love Mary.
everybody
Love
should
Mary all
come
the time.
do their podcast here if you're thinking of starting out.
Absolutely, yeah. If you're in the Vancouver, Portland area, please, please, please come here because it's really fucking cool. And Mary is really fucking cool.
Aw, thank you.
So, well, Mary, before we wrap up, is there anything that you want to say to our people?
Nothing that hasn't already been said. I feel like we were talking about perfectionism, like the conversation's ongoing. There will be many more things. We'll get back together and talk about the age of AI. That'll be super fun. That was not on my bingo card for the year.
Yeah.
And like I've been using it for a while, but I didn't know that I was going to be teaching people. So I do love that there's like a constant evolution, and I'm genuinely excited to see what creators do with the creator economy. I have to say, I really am. After having worked in entertainment in Hollywood, and I've been around the big system, and I'm watching it not disintegrate, but the cracks are really big. Like the structure is crumbling, and it's because it's not sustainable in the new modern economy. But the creator economy is very nimble, and there's so much money in it. And that's very cool. And there are so many different ways to be a part of it. And if you're in business, like you're already a part of the creator economy because you have to produce media marketing in some way, shape, or form. You have to. How big you go with it or how small is totally your strategy and your choice. But I do think that there's going to be some really cool developments as we move forward. And I can't wait to digest them for you because this is the stuff I nerd out on.
Yep. I love it. Well, thank you, Mary. We're so happy that we did this, and we love having you on. You just have an open invitation to be on our podcast like all the time. If you
I will
want.
be your emergency guest anytime you need.
I love it. I love it. And thank you to all of our listeners for tuning in to season 3. And if you have any questions or suggestions for us, feel free to reach out. You can email us at aloha@taketheleap-today.com or send us an Instagram message. And until next time, thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Take the Leap podcast. Check out our show notes to connect with us and our guests. If you have questions about the episode or ideas for future topics, send us a direct message on Instagram or email us at aloha@taketheleap-today.com. If you're interested in being a guest, fill out the guest interest form on our website.
If you're a new entrepreneur who is looking for a roadmap to move your business idea forward, check out the Take the Leap course on our website, taketheleap-today.com. Members who join the course also have an opportunity to join us in bi-weekly co-working and group coaching calls to build momentum and work on your business.
And if you'd like a flavor of what we offer, sign up for our free webinar with the 9 essential steps you need to launch your business with clarity and confidence. See you next time.